Hello there. So today, I'm going to be teaching you how to make a hand spinner out of modeling clay. There will be a link in the description to a video where I showed how to make this template. Some people might not need it, that's why I put it in a separate video, or might not want to use it, but yeah. So, I'm actually recording this after I recorded how to make this, so obviously this is what it turned out to be, but you'll see that later in the video. So, yeah, let's get into it. Two things really quick. So, what you're gonna need to make this is, modeling clay. I'm using Model Magic because it's cheap and it comes in a bunch of different colors. 4 skate bearings, or maybe 3, or maybe more, depending on what design you're using. A popsicle stick and or knife for shaping it. And then a hard, flat surface that's gonna help flatten and smooth it out. And then I'm using a template, but you don't have to, but there will be a link in the description to a video on how I made my template. Super glue. And but you do need, even if you don't use the template, you need either a piece of paper or cardboard or something, because when you use super glue, it's gonna get stuck to whatever surface it's on. And so I'm doing this. I put the template on some cardboard, and I put the cardboard on my laptop on my desk. So yeah, so this is specifically for the super glue and stuff and the clay, so that it doesn't get on my desk. And then tape, because put the template on the cardboard. It helps give some durability, so if you have to move it around with the clay on it, it's not going to break it apart as easily. And second thing, the kind of format of this video, I guess you could call it, is either I'm going to show a time lapse of what I'm doing and then tell you what I did, or vice versa. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do and then show a time lapse of me doing it. So let's get started, shall we? So now what I've done is, well, first I took equal parts of red and blue modeling clay strands, twisted them together, and then kind of balled them up. I did that multiple times and turned it into this much. So yeah, and then I taped this piece of paper to some cardboard, just to kind of like firm it up a little bit, and you want to get it like as flat as possible. You want as little air in there as possible. Also, another reason I've attached it to cardboard is so that if you have to move it and there's already clay or some sort of substance on here that you're gonna make the spinner out of, it's a lot less floppy, it's a lot more stable, so there's a less chance of it breaking apart. So now I've taped down the 3 bearings I'm going to use for the outside. And they don't have to be perfectly in place, but just enough so that they'll stay where they are when we put the clay in. So now what I've done is I got the clay into a general shape of how I'm going to want it. It's not perfect, it's not level. I'm going to cut it and level it in a minute. But what I've done is I've made a hole just a tiny bit bigger than the bearing. So now I'm going to place this in the center and kind of compact it around the middle bearing and keep that as centered as I can, because it's going to be hard to keep it in place since you're not able to tape it or anything. If you can figure out a way, do it, but do it. But I don't know how, so for now I'm just going to hold it by hand. Okay, so I've actually done this part already. I had to re-record it, so it's already done. But what I did, I placed that in the center, and then I took a hard, flat substance, so I just chose a piece of wood that covers this completely, and I just pressed down. And this is really good at flattening it out and smoothing it out and getting it level with the bearings. If you don't really care about this that much, if you don't care about it looking that smooth or that good or whatever, the spread doesn't really apply. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to carve it out. You can use a knife or a popsicle stick or whatever you want to carve it out. But I'm going to get it to the actual shape I want it to be in the end. Okay, so I just use a popsicle stick to just kind of saw it away a little bit. It's not very clean. I am contemplating maybe using a knife to clean it up maybe, but just to get kind of a sharper edge. If you do use a knife, be safe. I'm going to be using a very blunt knife that you can't even cut through skin with. Yeah, so I might also add some extra clay to these spots right here, just a little bit to strengthen it up a little. But it should be fine once it hardens up. Also at this point, you could take your tape off, or whatever adhesive you use, because what we're going to be doing, we're going to be taking these off, the bearings, and just hold on, I'll show you in a second. Okay, so I did go back, take a few bits off with a very blunt knife, won't even cut through skin. Yeah, so now what you're going to want to do is just wiggle these out. It might be a little hard, so I'm actually probably going to use the knife again or the popsicle stick. But you're going to wiggle these out very carefully so that this keeps its shape. This one you can kind of put your finger in, wiggle it in a circle, just get a little space for it, and just kind of pop it right out. It's a little difficult, but you should be able to get it. Okay, so I did use this knife a little bit, but like I said, it's not gonna cut through anything really. So I'm not gonna hurt myself that easily. But so it was difficult. You do have to be careful with keeping the shape. I did add a tiny bit of extra clay over here. So you just want to get these out. This one was kind of easy. You want to get these out, but leave this one in for now. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to take some super glue and put it on one side, or side, I guess section of a bearing. I'm going to put that section into the clay and just firm that up into place. So I'm going to glue it, put glue right there, slide it back in, shape the clay around it. And that glue should dry within a few seconds. Just wait a minute or two, whatever. And then you're actually, I'll show you afterwards, but then you're going to do this part. It's a little tricky. I'll show you after. Also, another thing, you should kind of carefully be just lifting this off the paper every now and then, just to make sure it doesn't bind to the paper too strongly. It shouldn't make much of a difference as long as you don't spend hours and hours on this. you might need to use like a popsicle stick or a knife to something to get it off, but just make sure you check it and make sure it's not completely bonded to the paper. Okay, so I actually have removed it completely from the paper. It's like free now, I guess. So now they're binded. You can still rip it off, but there will be clay stuck to it definitely. So you still have to wait for the clay to harden up. I'm definitely considering making this thicker because it is a little flimsy, but once it hardens, it should be fine. But you know, better safe than sorry. So now what we're gonna do, I'm gonna wiggle this out. It would have been better with it still in place, but it should still work. So I'm just gonna kind of wiggle this out, and I'm gonna apply glue all around this bearing, and then slide it back in. Also make sure to wash your hands if you get any glue on your fingers or whatever. Okay, so now you're basically done. You just have to wait for the clay to harden up, or maybe you want to add some more, whatever. But and once you glue it down, it's going to get stuck to the paper or whatever surface underneath. But just wiggle it off, and it should come off. A little clay might be ripped too, but you could just put some glue or whatever it is, add some more clay, whatever. And yeah, any cracks or whatever that you find, you could just add some glue in and it'll bind it up. And something my friend actually suggested doing is just covering the entire thing with super glue, which I actually have to put the lid on. But because yeah, this stuff will dry in the container if you don't keep the lid on it. So yeah, be careful about that. Yeah, because just covering it in super glue completely it will make it way stronger. Basically just put a exoskeleton or a shell over it, make it a lot stronger. So how you would go about doing that is covering one entire side and or one entire face, I guess, and then the sides, waiting for those to dry, flip it over, so like only a couple minutes, maybe not even, flip it over and then do the other face. But make sure to not get any glue in here, because then it won't be able to rotate. Yeah. So right now you can spin it. I don't recommend it though, because it's very floppy still and has to harden a lot. So I recommend leaving it just overnight or whatever. That's what I'm going to do. And I'll record again in the morning, tell you how it's gone, how it cured up, if I chose to add any clay or if I didn't. But yeah, there you go. Good morning. There's glue on my fingers and graphite under my nails. So the clay has had time to cure, harden, and the glue has had time to dry, and I did choose to put the glue kind of shell over it, which looks kind of cool. It gives it a shiny look, and definitely ups the durability. So it's spin time. It's very durable. I've been tugging on some of the bearings. I've dropped it a couple of times. It's pretty durable for being made out of lanolin clay. And that's definitely from the glue. I think with just the clay it wouldn't be as strong. I found one tiny crack in it. You probably can't even see it on camera. Oh yeah, right there. But I just added some glue into it. It was fine. So its spin time was about 6 or 7 seconds. 6 about, I'd say. And but my dad showed me that if you shave some graphite off of the end of a pencil into that center bearing and just spin it a few times, like kind of mix it around, I guess, you can kind of see it. It's a little blackened. I don't know if it'll focus, but whatever. It spun about 3 seconds longer, which doesn't seem like a lot, but that's 1.5 times what it was spinning. So it's definitely, for being handmade and out of just clay, it came out pretty good. It's not that balanced because when I was making the template, I didn't have a protractor, so some of the angles are off, and they're not all the same distance. Like, all the outside bearings are different distances from the center bearing, which definitely throws off the balance of it. But yeah, it came out pretty good overall, and thanks for watching.